Welcome back, everyone, to the Game Junkies podcast, the podcast which brings you all the latest gaming news, releases, and content. I'm your host, Chris, and I'm here with my co-host, Jack.
Hey, how's that going, everyone?
We do have some news about ourselves. We have got a Patreon page now, which you can use to support us, basically. Isn't it? Anything to add about that, Jack? I mean, it's just...
Well, it's a very new thing for us. It's very exciting because it kind of makes it feel more official.
Yeah, I mean, who would want to support us?
It's just used for if you're fans of us and you just want to solely support us, that'll be fantastic. Obviously, just listening enough would be enough for us. But on the Patreon, we'll be including extra clips. We're planning on doing this kind of. It's called like a deep dive. It's when we talk specifically about a certain game, or like certain lore about a game or characters or whatever, and we'll be doing like other streams, gaming streams, and just other topics. So I'm quite excited about that. And it's just more work for us to kill the time whilst we're in lockdown. So I'm fine with that.
To all of our zero fans.
Exactly. Yeah. Brilliant.
So how's your week been? How's your week been?
No sleep because of the heat in Britain. It's been ridiculous, and I am absolutely exhausted right now.
Yeah. Sweltering. It has been. So even today.
I'm so happy it was raining.
Yeah. Even though it's raining, I still feel like it's 1,000,000 degrees.
Really?
Yeah, I still feel so warm. Yeah, I really do.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know why.
How's that possible?
I don't know. Maybe it's just I'm not used to the heat. I'm rubbish with the heat. Who knows?
Oh yeah, I can't handle. I get so annoyed when it's warm. I just get so irritable. It's insane. Definitely.
So let's go on to our news segment. So Jack, do you want to kick us off?
Yes. So we have several news articles that's happened throughout the week that we'd like to discuss. The first bit of news we'd like to talk about is Microsoft shutting down Mixer, which is their gaming stream. Last Monday, on June 22nd specifically, Mixer announced on Twitter that they will be shutting down Mixer and partnering with Facebook Gaming. The tweet said, while we've decided to close the operations side of Mixer, we're officially partnering with Facebook Gaming and inviting you all to join. They later tweeted, for the partners, if you choose to join Facebook Gaming, you will be offered partner status with them, and existing partner agreements will be honoured as close as possible. Thoughts, Chris?
I mean, it's a surprise. It's like I didn't expect them to close it down, if I'm honest with you. I felt like they were putting a lot of money into it. They made it quite clear that they've got exclusive streamers to it, and they seem to make contracts with a lot of big streamers. But yeah. I really am surprised that they're closed. Like the thing is, I am and I'm not, because to come against Twitch is a really hard thing to do. I think
definitely. Well, there are hardly any rivals to compete.
Exactly, it'd be like someone trying to rival YouTube. It's got to be such a hard thing to do. But I did think they were putting loads of money into it, and I did think it was somewhat taken off. So it does surprise me. The fact that they go into Facebook Gaming again is also surprising. But I guess because they're both struggling, I think they want to try and sort of form a bond sort of thing and try and get as many communities over as they can.
Yeah, well, exactly. And Facebook Gaming isn't a huge platform currently, but maybe this deal they're making with Microsoft might change the balance, and maybe it might create a true rivalry. But at the moment, I don't think there's any traffic going through it.
I don't think Twitch has anything to worry about at the moment. And
yes,
it is surprising. I don't know too much about Facebook Gaming, but I didn't really knew it existed, to be honest with you, until I heard about this. Like, I don't know how you get to it. Is it on Facebook, or do you have to download it? I have no idea.
I mean, if you want to have a look, you could try. We can start streaming on there if you want.
But yeah, it is quite surprising. So we'll just see what happens with if it takes off on Facebook Gaming, I guess.
Well, big streamers, such as Ninja and Shroud had, the best deal of the bunch, really, compared to the smaller streamers on Mix.
Yeah.
Facebook actually offered to almost double Ninja and Shroud's original Mixer contracts.
And I bet that was
declined, and instead forced Mixer to buy them out for an estimated I think it was 30 million and 10 million dollars each, respectively.
Whoa! I
So
never have to
they
work
are
again.
rolling in the money if they weren't already.
Wow. But I'm guessing that's only if they join them, right? So that's only if they
Oh yeah,
join
exactly.
Facebook.
They don't have to do anything.
I
But yeah,
mean,
they just try to get the best deals out of all the streamers, definitely.
I'm not surprised. Obviously, Ninja's like one of the biggest ones. Shroud is a huge streamer as well. They're
Yeah, I
big
mean everyone knows who
streamers.
they are.
And but the thing is with these streamers, the only thing which is probably going to be a little bit affected by this is the communities.
But
So
definitely, yeah,
obviously,
definitely.
I don't think it'd be too. I don't think it'll be a big impact on their communities because I don't think like if I was someone I was following or watching or streaming, I wouldn't be like, oh, they're over to YouTube now. Oh, okay, then
Oh,
I'll just
I'm not
yeah,
gonna
I
listen
wouldn't.
to that again.
I'd just go over to YouTube. I wouldn't be
Yeah,
like, this
it's
is a
not
bit.
taxing.
Yeah, I don't think it's taxing or anything like that. Maybe if they subscribed or they had, like on Twitch where you have subscriptions, follows, and stuff like that. I think maybe that'll be impacted, especially at the start. But
Yeah,
I mean, if we wanted to change our community, our zero fans, over to a
I mean
different,
it's only a bonus if we
yeah,
move on. It might gain more traction. Who knows?
exactly. But I mean, probably that's the only thing that's going to be affected. I don't, and the jobs at Mixer as well. If we heard anything,
Oh yeah,
there's
definitely.
nothing about that at the moment.
Well, it was so sudden. It was just
Exactly.
all released on a sudden Twitter,
Yeah.
like a Twitter release, and there was no warning about it to all the smaller communities built on Mixer. All the smaller streamers are, it's such a shame for them because they built all their community and like their fan base on that platform. For it to suddenly all of it to be wiped out essentially, it's such a shame because like I said, with the bigger streamers, their community and fan base won't be affected that much because most of the loyal fans will just move on to the other platform they're going to start using. But with the smaller streamers, you will have a smaller community, smaller fan base. It might be harder for them to build that up again. It might take a lot longer.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, we just wait and see, really. I mean, I don't know how it's going to play out. I mean, I never really used Mixer anyway, personally. So the fact that it's going over to Facebook Gaming has zero effect on me. It's not going to,
exactly.
So
I'm curious what's going to happen with Facebook Gaming. Actually, I'm going to keep tabs on that. I'm curious who they will be signing on and who.
Yeah, definitely.
I wonder if they get any bigger streamers on there to promote it.
It will. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens now. I guess. I think it's closing quite soon as well, isn't it? I think it's something like the end of June or the start of July. It's pretty.
That close.
Yeah, it's really close. So
right. Well, I mean, I think we just need to give all those like the smaller streamers the best of luck. Just hope for the best, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess what goes out to them.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Well, I think that's Mixer covered. Chris, do you want to move on to the next?
Yeah, sure. So the next one is Cyberpunk 2077 Night City live stream. On Thursday, the 25th of June, CD Projekt Red did a live stream showing off a brand new trailer showing the 3 possible prologues that the game will feature, as well as tiny clips of Keanu Reeves, which everybody wants to see, right? Who doesn't want to see Keanu Reeves?
I mean, it's Keanu Reeves.
So they showed off a new gameplay. They showed off a new gameplay feature of Brain Dance segment, which basically lets the player go into a memory of an NPC or a criminal or whatever, and live out their sight, smell, touch, everything that they felt. Your character can feel as well. The player can rewind, fast forward, and pause time to analyze crimes. What do you think about that?
Isn't that just Detroit Become Human?
Yeah, I mean, it's from a developer's point of view, I think it's an incredible feature to have. I feel like it's a lot of work. And it's something I think I will use at the start, but I don't think I would. I think I'd get quite bored of it quite quickly as a feature.
Oh, yeah.
I think I'd be like, oh, this is really cool. But then I think I'd be a bit like, this is a bit... I mean, they did it in Batman as well, if you remember.
Yeah,
in the Batman games, they did it. So it's not like it's not a brand new feature.
I'm sure it's more refined compared to previous versions of it.
Definitely.
Do you think that's going to be a very specific character base, like gameplay aspect? So if you choose a certain character to play as, certain play style, do you think it'll be more commonly used?
Possibly. It's hard to tell at the moment because I guess it's just all up in the air. I mean, it is interesting about the 3 possible prologues, which I think is really cool because I know people are starting to preview it now, so there's a lot of people playing like the first 4 hours of the game, which they've gained
Yeah,
access
definitely.
to,
Yeah,
and they've said that everyone who's played it and talked about it with each other, they have not had the same,
that is
which is incredible because there's
that's
so
insane.
many. Yeah, I mean, me and you could play it, and I'd say this happened in my game, and you'd be like, "What? That happened in your game?" And I'd be like, "Yeah."
Hold on.
And
Yeah, exactly.
it's
Even if we
not.
choose the exact same character, it's the same prologue, we'll go in completely different directions, which is just. I'm so annoyed. Come on, release already.
I know, come on, but it's interesting because, like I said, I just the amount of freedom that you have, and this has been in development for at least 7 years. Because I looked at when the first teaser for this game was, and it was 7 years ago. So,
What, 7 years ago, was it?
yeah, it was seven
Really?
years ago. Yeah, it was really
Okay.
early. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. It's a bit of a downside that they, had to postpone it. But I kind of like now I'm seeing more of it and getting more information. I'm like, I kind of expect it because it's
The
a big
hype
game.
is surely building. It is for me at least. But I'm
Yeah.
I'm more than happy waiting for them to refine, gameplay.
And
Uh,
yeah, but the previews, there's people have said it's really good and stuff like that. From what I can tell, they did say there's a little like the driving's a little bit iffy, but
well, we have time to work on it.
exactly that's what they said. That's what CD Projekt Red is saying. They're saying, well, this is our time now to work on everything that everyone don't like
I
about
love
it.
driving in games, so I hope that they refine it because it's so fun, so
So,
fun just to ride around and do whatever you want, just GTA style.
have you actually seen the little gameplay segment that
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't
it's
it? It's
so
just
good?
it looks so good. The gameplay just looks really fun. It's brutal. I'm pretty sure there was like a head decapitation at one point.
Who doesn't
That
like
was that
head
was quite. Of
decapitations?
course, yeah. That's the only reason why I play a game.
Yeah,
It's for that hope. But yeah, it's really smooth. The quality of the graphics and the rendering is just insane.
it's
Uh,
amazing. It really
I'm
is.
just it's hyped me up so much.
Looking
I
forward
wish I
to it.
felt this way about the other games that I've been releasing, but this is.
Definitely.
I'm looking forward to this game the most. I think
Oh yeah, yeah. It's,
based on
it's
like its newest gameplay and
it,
like.
it
Sorry,
feels
go on.
like it feels like it's going to be a game that is genuinely going to be an another life of yours, if that makes sense. Because the amount that
Yeah,
you can do in it, like the NPCs apparently just have their go about their day, and
it
it's
looks so
just
real,
yeah,
doesn't it?
it's
It looks so
crazy.
lively.
It's
Everyone's doing their own thing, but it's not just groups of NPCs just standing around. You're hearing them talking, but the mouths aren't moving. That kind of
yeah,
thing. It's really everyone is such in detail. Every NPC.
so
Do
good.
you know what gameplay style you're gonna go for? What kind of character you're gonna
Oh,
build?
I I don't know yet.
Like based
But
on the skill trees they've presented at the beginning.
that's the thing. I just don't know because I'll have to decide when I'm sort of in the game because I'm very indecisive with games. Like when they give me too many character options and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Like choosing my
same.
character on Borderlands 3 took me hours. I was sat there like,
Yeah.
do I want to go do I want to go as? It's just yeah. So I don't know. I guess I'll just wait and see when I'm actually in the game. So like,
I think I'm just gonna go like proper hack and slash.
you
Like I'm
think
just gonna go full
raw
damage.
tank?
Just,
Yeah,
just yeah, just go and maybe not just full tank, but I just want to shoot everyone. I want to see all the different types of guns you can collect and all the melee weapons and stuff.
leave no
All the
prisoners.
fighting animations. I just want to get full in. I don't want to, sneaking around and hacking sounds really fun, but maybe it's probably a bit too much for me. I'm quite bad at that kind of thing in most games. I just want
Yeah.
to shoot my way through.
I mean, I'm not the best at stealth, but I want to try it at least. I want to try and uh, you know be as stealthy as I can because stealth is quite fun and it
Stuff is
rewards
quite
you.
fun, yeah.
The thing is with your path as well, like what they say about the game is if you choose to go quite violent in that, your actions are going to have consequences. So if you kill
Yeah,
someone you're interrogating, your story later down the line is going to, end up
might
being
go
worse for
worse
you.
or go better for you. Who knows?
Exactly. So yeah, it's going to be
That's what I'm looking
interesting.
for. Oh, I mean, I might be like a character where I don't intend to kill someone, but if you push me too far,
You go too
fair.
far, yeah.
And
Yeah.
you need to be if you need to be taken down for me to get into like this kind of facility or to unlock this pathway that I want, you're going down.
Definitely. So, like, I
That's how
mean,
I'm looking at it.
they also announced an anime series which is being made by Netflix, which is due to release in 2020. Now,
Oh,
this was a surprise to me because
yeah,
normally, like a series or a film or whatever is normally announced after the game's released and after the
yeah,
game's
no, exactly.
after the game has been successful, right? That's usually when a game is released. So that was a surprise to me.
That is a bit of a shock.
It kind of shows that they're doing well for money. Even the build up they do. I mean, Xbox have released an official Cyberpunk skin for their Xbox, right? So they must be doing so much marketing for it. So it's cool.
Yeah, well, like you said in the other in the previous podcast, I think we can trust this company.
Definitely,
the producers of this game. We can trust them to deliver. Based on the previous games they've released, the Witcher series, they've just been so good and so consistent. So I think we can trust that this is going to be, just a great game. I think everyone's going to get it. I doubt there'll be little bugs. I doubt there'll be so many problems when it releases. So I'm really hyped for it. You don't understand.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
I look forward to it.
So I guess do you want to take the next segment?
Yeah. The next segment is a teaser for Halo Infinite, which is Halo is a franchise I just adore. So any kind of news about it hypes me up a bit. Last Wednesday, the official Halo Twitter page released a teaser to the new Halo Infinite. The teaser is a signal message that has been detected, and it is believed that it is the Banished from Halo Wars 2. The message says, "Humanity will burn." So the teaser title specifically is "Signal Detected, Tag Designation Foe." What's your opinions on this based on what you know about the saga series?
I'm excited that they are finally doing marketing for it. It seems like they're finally, they finally get,
It's so sparse.
Yeah, but about the message itself, I played Halo Wars 2, and I loved Halo Wars 2. It was, my type of game, like sort of RTS style.
Yeah.
The Banished, I don't really know too much about them, other than Atriox and Decimus is the other one, big Banished one, so I don't know,
For those who are unfamiliar with Halo and the most recent games, the Banished are a splinter faction of the Covenant, and the Covenant are a collection of alien races who are the main enemies that you fight in the Halo series. It is suggested that in Halo 5, brackets, the greatest game ever made, in my opinion.
We'll talk about that. We're actually going to talk about our deep dive. Our first deep dive is actually going to be about Halo, by the way, guys, on our Patreon. So, so that's off point. Carry on.
This spoilers. So if you want to put your hands over your ears and distract yourself for a bit, but if you don't want to carry on with this, the Covenant are supposedly completely wiped out by Allied forces. So if that's the case, it would make sense for the Banished to be teased as the replacement for the Covenant. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a main enemy faction to fight.
So
like
sorry,
in the classic games.
The Covenant have been completely wiped out.
Well,
supposedly.
Supposedly. Well, the thing is, this is something we could easily talk about in deep dive. But it's essentially, the Covenant is the main enemy you fight throughout the Halo series. In the original trilogy, they're basically the main form of the Covenant is gone. Yeah. Halo 4 and 5, there's kind of like a what's it called? Like not a resurgence. I'm not sure what the term is, but it's just like a reform of the Covenant.
Yeah.
And they supposedly get wiped out as well at the end of Halo 5. So it would be very confusing if they made a return in Halo 6, because there would be so few of them left.
Definitely. So how do you feel about maybe Decimus or Atreus? Is that Atreus?
Atriox.
Atriox, sorry. How would you feel about them being the possible bad guys of Halo Infinite?
I like them. I think Atriox is a really cool, menacing villain.
Badass.
I mean, if you watched the cutscenes in Halo Wars 2 alone, you'd see how terrifying he is. I mean, he takes on. I think in one of the cutscenes he takes on like this full Spartan team single-handedly. He was just able to just toy with them and show how powerful he is.
Yeah.
And he has like a really deep voice that's all it's terrifying. He's like a cool character.
He's a badass.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, if the Banished are suggested to be in Halo Infinite, then it might be possible for other characters in Halo Wars 2 to make an impact, and they might be cast in the newest game.
Bring back the flood. Bring back the flood. That's all I want. I want the flood.
More floods, the better. Oh, the flood was such a good enemy.
I love
They
them.
were introduced in Halo Wars DLC. I don't know if you knew this. There was Halo Wars 2 DLC, and they were released as enemies.
So it's
That was
still
quite cool.
about. I think I
Yeah, they're
don't
still
see.
around.
I mean, if they did, again, we're going off topic again, but I think if they were to be in Halo Infinite, I think it'd be a surprise. I don't think they
Yeah,
would
I
tease
would
it,
love
right?
that.
Yeah. So,
No, you
but
don't tease it now. That would be too much of a spoiler.
I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to it
other
because
characters in Halo Wars 2 could be included, like Jerome and Red Team, and like the crew of the Spirit of Fire, which is like humanity in Halo Wars 2. Like that's the the good guys basically.
yeah, I mean, it'll definitely be interesting to see how they make Atriox, and incorporate it into Halo Infinite. It'd be good to see in an actual Halo mainline game instead of a Halo Wars.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
but yeah, I'm more hyped about. Hopefully now they are starting to do the marketing for Halo Infinite now, and hopefully we'll see a lot more to build
I
it
hope
up.
so. I mean, we're still yet to see gameplay. That's going to be happening in July. That is confirmed gameplay for Halo.
Do you know?
So
Do you know
stoked about
what
that.
date it is that's meant to
Don't know. I
happen?
don't have a specific date.
No,
I'm not sure if they mentioned a specific date yet.
no, I
Either
don't think
that,
they've
or I'm just
confirmed it.
blind. But they have confirmed in July that there will be actual final gameplay
Okay.
towards the game. Personally, I think it's a bit late because it's meant to be supposedly releasing quite soon. I think it's end of the year.
Yeah, it says holiday 2020, whatever that means with all these consoles and anything.
But I just feel like compared to most games, and specifically the Halo franchise, they've always released their gameplay at least a year or so prior. So then they have time to work on things like Cyberpunk are doing. They've shown gameplay. They have issues that have been raised by the fans and the community, and now they have time to work on it.
Definitely.
So I'm hoping that 343 will have enough time to work on things if there are some bugs and issues.
Yeah, so I'm just looking forward to that. Yeah.
There was actually talking about how Aatrox might be incorporated. There was a wild theory in the Halo community that there was a minimal chance that the Banished and humanity would band together and join forces to like fight against a common enemy, like the big bad in Halo Infinite. I don't know who that's going to be. It's suggested to be Cortana. She was led to be a bad guy, starting to become one at the end of Halo 5. So she might be the big bad. Again, if it is the floods and they hide it, that would be a good twist.
Don't get me excited now. Do not give me hope.
But the thing is, the problem is, as it says in the message, humanity will burn.
I was thinking that.
I think it's quite clear that the Banished don't like us.
I think it's clear that they want.
Just throws the theory out the window a bit.
Yeah, maybe they go, humanity will burn. They meet up with humanity, and then they go, actually, we change our mind. Actually, no,
have a few beers, have a barbecue,
or they'll maybe team up and they'll betray them. I don't know. We'll just see how it goes, but it'll be interesting.
I would love that. But I personally doubt it. I don't think they'll go that route, but we'll just have to see. I think they'll just be just another enemy to fight, personally.
Definitely. Yeah.
Right, well, I think, that's the Halo news done. Like we said before, we could talk about it loads more.
I mean, we're going to the deep dive on our bonus content anyway, so...
Exactly.
Yeah, so if you want to check that out,
that's going to be a fun episode for me.
Yeah.
Right, Chris, do you want to take on the final bit of news?
Yeah, so final news segment is Avengers War Table stream. Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics showed off more of the Avengers last Wednesday. They did a stream called Avengers War Table, where they showed off a new story trailer which revealed the main villain, MODOK. They showed off extended gameplay of Thor, and they also announced a new Warzone mode. The Warzone section are missions which the user can do in co-op or solo with AI. They complete various objectives and missions, as well as bosses to beat. The missions range from wide open areas to dense interior spaces. They also showed off customization, tech trees, and heroic moves. Players can obviously customize the look of their heroes and change the gear assigned to them. So, I'm guessing you've seen it. You've seen the stream. How do you feel about it? What do you think?
It's changed my mind. Originally, when I watched all the teaser trailers and all the alpha the gameplay demos and whatever they've shown throughout the last few months, I kind of had a perspective of it's not going to be very good. It's not going to be a game for me. It seemed very bare bones and the gameplay seemed quite limited. But now they've shown off this brand new trailer and shows all the demonstrations of what they can achieve, like the tech trees and heroic moves and all the complete customization they're offering. I'm really excited for this. I'm excited to have my own personality thrown into a character that I really enjoy playing, or just watching kick ass. Iron Man for me is probably my favorite character in the MCU. So I love the fact that I might have the chance of playing as him, but also having my own, again, personality thrown in there and having him fight my way.
Definitely.
So that'll be quite fun. I mean, what do you think about all the customization they're throwing in?
I mean, yeah, it looks really fun. Like you said, how my Iron Man could be different to your Iron Man seems really fun. Yeah. And they've also gone into detail about if I equipped a certain hand for Iron Man, I guess, or a certain gear to Iron Man, his laser beam, I guess, whatever you want to call it, will be a different color to yours.
I think that's pretty cool.
So the fact that they've gone into little details like that just shows that it looks really fun. You can build your character how you want. Again, if you want to make Iron Man really tanky, you can. If you want to make Thor really DPS or damage orientated, you can. It's really cool. I thought it was going to be quite limited in what you could do. And then they showed this, and it looks really fun now. It looks like you...
Yeah, change my mind.
Yeah, you want to try and get the best gear for your characters. And it's cool how they've got, like, heroic moves. So with the Thor gameplay, they showed off what's it called? The tunnel where he uses to go... The Bifrost, that's what it's called.
Yeah, that's right.
So he used the Bifrost to kill an enemy, which is really cool how they're sort of incorporating their own sort of, heroic moves and special abilities.
Did they show how many heroic moves you were able to obtain for each character, or was there like a certain amount? Or I
think it's 3 in total.
Is it 3?
I think it's 3. But yeah, I think it looks really fun for me. I think it's quite a fun game, especially with co-op. I think with co-op,
it's going to be... Co-op will be the way to play it, I think.
Definitely. And I mean, I thought it looked really good anyway, the first time they showed it off, because I'm just a big Marvel fan and, I'm looking forward to it anyway. But now it feels like it sold it to me. I feel like I'm going to be looking forward to this. And the fact that the missions as well, how you can do the sort of, what was it called? Warzone missions. That's what it was. They seem really fun. Yeah, they changed it, and they. So, but the thing I want to sort of highlight here, what do you think about the main villain in the campaign?
So MODOK. The thing is, I don't think I've been invested in Marvel as you. I'm more of a movie fan. I never read the comics, so I don't know too much about him. But I like that they're taking this. I know a bit about MODOK, and he's a very exaggerated, ridiculously looking character, and I'm glad they're going back to their kind of comic roots. Yeah, which is what I want to talk about with like the skins you can obtain, because they pay homage to certain comics and that kind of thing.
It's nice, isn't it? Yeah,
it pays tribute to classic design and classic characters. So he's not something I would have expected, because
he's don't read comics. He's just weird. He looks so weird. Apparently in the comics as well. Again, I don't really know too much about the comics, but apparently in the comics as well, he's a weird character.
Was he just a giant head?
I think so. He's meant to be really powerful though. But he's meant to be
very intelligent.
Yeah, but he's weird in the comics as well. Apparently, like just a proper weirdo.
Just a weird guy.
But I'm glad that they're not looking at the Marvel, like the MCU films, and going, we've got to copy this for the fans. I'm glad they're going their own way, because you don't have to copy the films. The films are the films. They're their own content. You don't need to make it.
Exactly. You know, if I want to watch more MCU films, I watch more MCU films.
Exactly.
I want the game to be different.
And people were kicking off, the start saying, "Oh, the characters look nothing like the ones from MCU."
Yeah, that's right.
It's like, well, you don't. They're not. It's not from the Marvel Universe films, It's from the comics, so they're doing it from the comics.
They look more comic. They look more comic related, especially with Iron Man's armor. It looked very early
comic.
Like 20th century comic book level.
Yeah.
Design.
So I think they're going a great route with it. I'm glad they're not looking at the films and going, right, we need to replicate this because they've done it so well. I'm glad they're going, we're going to do our own thing, because it's, I'm glad Thanos isn't the main enemy, because I've seen Thanos. I've seen him in the films. I want something different. I did kind of think
that would be interesting to see how they would handle Thanos if they ever did put it in.
Maybe they will. I mean, they should, like, the fact that
they should focus on other characters. There are more characters out there.
Definitely. And I did kind of think that I mean, I haven't heard of MODOK, but I did kind of think that maybe the main villain would be Galactus. Have you ever heard of Galactus? Like the mass.
He's that absolutely massive guy, isn't he?
Yeah,
Like,
he's meant to be more
always mad.
powerful than Thanos. So,
He's meant to be powerful.
yeah, I mean, I'm excited about MODOK. He looks interesting. He looks weird. He just looks like a character. He looks like a lot of fun, and yeah, I'm really
I like
excited
the
about
character
it.
you get to play as.
Yeah,
That she seems quite interesting. The one who just, I don't know. She reminds me of Ant-Man in the films where she can just transform into like a bigger version of herself, or she
Miss
can like
Marvel.
Ms. Marvel. That's it. Like she just extends her arm, and then her hand becomes this massive, huge wall that she just smashes enemies with. That's quite
Definitely.
cool. I quite like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're going to launch with these 5 heroes, right? I don't think they're going to have any more. I think they'll add them as DLCs,
Yeah.
the extended ones. But if you were to add, well, I mean, Captain America's in it, but he's dead. But I don't know. Anyway, that's a
What?
yeah. He's dead. He's died or something. I don't know. That's what they imply anyway. So he's dead.
Brilliant.
So if you could see, I know this is again, we could do a whole thing about it, but just a quick to end it. As a DLC character or as a character, what character would you like to see other than the ones that have been chosen? What do you think?
Hawkeye. I want to see
Hawkeye.
We
What?
did him dirty because I was expecting the original 6 Avengers like they did in the movies, and they got everyone except Hawkeye. I was like, where is my man Hawkeye? What's happened to him?
Okay, that's
Did
fair
him
enough.
dirty. He should be a character.
That is fair
We
enough.
need to include him.
I personally would like to see. See, everyone thinks that Spider-Man may be
I've seen too much of Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like
Not
he's
just
got his own game.
based on him. Too many movies based on him.
Yeah.
Someone, please.
Yeah, I probably would like to see maybe Vision. I think he'd be quite overpowered, though.
He would be overpowered.
But he'd be fun to play as, flying around everywhere.
beaming everyone
It'd be pretty cool. So, I mean, yeah, so just more to come from that. That's going to be released September the 9th, I think that is. So that's going to be...
Oh, not too far away then.
Yes, that's going to keep us occupied until Cyberpunk, or keep me occupied anyway.
No, exactly, yeah. Look forward to that.
So, yeah, I guess we're on to the next segment now, which is...
Looks like it. You've been so hyped.
I have waited so long to talk about this. So when we're doing what we're playing, normally we say a game we're playing this week, but we thought because it's such a big game that I would just talk about The Last of Us Part 2 basically, and hold off for Jack's next week because it's a big game, and I finally finished it. And I have so many feelings about it. And Jack has...
spoilers? Spoilers, finally?
Jack doesn't know anything about the game, okay? I'm not spoiling it to him on purpose. He wants to be spoiled it.
Yes. I've been waiting.
This is a big warning now to everyone listening. It is going to be packed with spoilers. So if you haven't played the game, or you want to play it yourself, or anything like that, don't want any spoilers, please turn off now, or just
pause this, buy the game, play through it,
then come back, because this is going to be spoiler free, and I don't want to spoil it for anyone.
I've been like a ninja spoiling, like dodging all the spoilers on like Facebook and YouTube and all that, and Twitter and everything. I'm so ready.
The thing is, nobody else has played this game, and I haven't been able to talk about it to anyone. And I've just kept all this emotion inside, and now I finally get to release it. So, yeah, it's your final warning. Final warning.
I'm so hyped. Rubbing my hands together. Let's go.
So, final warning. This is going to be filled with spoilers. So, please turn it off or skip to the next one.
I'm nervous. Why am I nervous?
The first thing I want to talk about, I'm going to leave the story to last. I know that's waiting, but I'm just going to talk about the gameplay. So, the gameplay is fantastic. Okay. If you like the first one, it's pretty much identical with extended features. So now when you're stealthy, you can prone into grass, you can craft silences for your pistols.
Did you not do that in the last game?
You could not do that in the first one. No, you could, just little things like that you can do. There's various different crafting tools. So you can have different bombs. You can have Molotovs written them again. With your melee weapon, I can't remember if you can do it in the first one. With your melee weapon, you can craft it better so it can kill people more quickly.
Nice.
And the gameplay, it's not, there's not loads to talk about the gameplay, but it does feel really polished and finished for me. Like I genuinely have really fun playing the game in terms of gameplay wise. So yeah, that's a good point. Graphics then, the graphics are just incredible. I think it's the best graphics I've ever seen on a game to date.
Really?
Like They are just incredible. I mean, even down to the facial animations. You can actually, it's hard in games to show facial animations, but with The Last of Us 2, they've nailed it. I mean, you can see them when they frown, with the, cheeks move, everything, their lips move, just the graphics, the character designs are just fantastic.
There's a lot of detail they've included.
Yeah, like with Ellie, you can see like freckles, scars, you can see everything on it. It makes you feel like you genuinely sort of with her. And again, the cutscenes aren't different graphics to the in-game gameplay. So you think
they are, they aren't.
They aren't. They're exactly the same. So they're not different.
Okay.
So when you go into a cutscene, you think, oh, this is going to be polished now. But no, it looks exactly the same.
It still looks good, though.
It's incredible. But it's incredible how they do that. Like, you think, oh, this is a cutscene, but then you suddenly have control. And you're like, oh, okay.
Oh, back to the game.
So, yeah, the graphics are incredible. I think graphics are a big thing with this game. A lot of people are loving it. And like I said, I think it's the best graphics I've seen to date. It's next gen. Like, it really is next gen. So I'm going to talk about the story now. Now I'm going to talk about the story.
Okay. So we've got gameplay, we've got graphics. There's no other parts.
The thing is,
this is going to be such a big build-up.
The story is going to be a big build-up, but a lot of these things intertwine. So I'm just going to freestyle it and just go through everything I can.
I'm so happy to hear this. It's been too long.
First things first. You remember what happened at the end of Last of Us 1, right? So obviously Joel saved Ellie from basically getting so these doctors, the Fireflies, we were trying to get a vaccine from Ellie to make everyone, from the infection. And Joel was told, if we do this, she's going to die. And he was like, well, I'm not happy with this. Goes on a killing spree, pretty much kills a lot of the Fireflies. And, goes into the room, and the doctor's like, hold on, please don't do this. She's going to be the answer to everything. He's like, I can't. And he shoots him, picks up Ellie, and leaves. So nice. Ellie wakes up then. This is the end of The Last of Us 1 now. So Ellie wakes up, and she's like, they're walking away, sort of moving on from their life. And she goes, Joel, was I genuinely was there other people who had the cure, who was immune? And he looks at her and straight up lies to her and says, yes, they told me there was loads of others, right? There's loads of others. You weren't the only one, okay? So pretty much the start of the second one goes on from this. So you pretty much start off straight away. I mean, it starts off really tame. So Ellie and Joel have sort of made their whole life in Jackson, which is like a massive new made city, basically. So everyone's relaxing, they're going out on patrols, just doing happy days. They're having parties, they're drinking, loads of different things. So it's hard to talk about the story because it goes back and forth quite a lot. So
like flashbacks and
So the first thing you play as is Joel, and he's cleaning his guitar, and he's with his brother Tommy, and he's cleaning his guitar, and he tells Tommy, look, I lied to Ellie, basically, I basically lied to her, and Tommy's like, oh shit, all right, and well, I'm going to keep it to myself. You play as Joel for like 5 minutes, and that's all you ever play as Joel in this game. Like, that's it. You play as Joel. Okay. You're on your way back to the Jackson, and you see Ellie, and you play a little song for her, and this song you have to listen to. It is heartbreaking. Like, it's basically about a song where if anything was to happen to her, he'd lose himself. And he starts playing the guitar, and he goes, look, I promised that I would play guitar. I'd teach you how to play guitar. Here's your guitar. So, that's a nice little, look, we're going to try and build our lives, basically. So then it cuts to 4 years later, right? And Ellie's sort of woken up by her friend Jesse, which is a new character. He's like one of the friends in Jackson, and he's a really fun character. I think he's quite unique. He's quite funny. He's really laid back, considering the world, if that makes sense. Like, considering the world is post-apocalyptic and everything like that, he's a really fun character. So he wakes her up and goes, look, we got to go on a patrol. And Ellie sort of talks about how I'm not going to go too into it because there's so much to talk about. But basically, Dina is Ellie's love interest, and Dina was also Jesse's ex-girlfriend. So it's a bit of a love triangle going on.
Right.
And basically, Ellie kissed Dina at the party last night when they were drunk, and Jesse found out. And he's actually really relaxed about it. He's not kicking off. He's like, look, at the end of the day, we're exes. It doesn't bother me.
I was expecting some drama.
Yeah, and he's really, but there's always that tension there because throughout the game you think, actually, this, is Jesse just going to turn around and just snap or something? You just don't know. So anyway, Jesse goes and tries to find Joel and Tommy because Joel and Tommy are out on a patrol and they've been a while. So Dina and Ellie also go out on patrol, just do a little sightseeing and stuff like that, just to check there's no infected around.
Okay.
So then obviously you're playing as Ellie at this point. Then you randomly start playing as this new character.
Okay.
And her name's Abby. Right? So you start
playing as... Very concerned.
You start playing it, there's so much to it. You start playing as this new character quite early on. You think, who's this new character? And you can see she's like set up her own group and she starts talking to this guy called Owen and, saying, look, we basically come all this way now to try and find him. And that's all you know. You think, right, what's this about? So then everyone's sleeping. Those two go. You basically take control of her. You walk with Owen just around the snow, basically around the mountain, and you come across Jackson in the distance. And Owen goes, "Look at that!" And then Abby's like, "Do you think he's in there? Like, do you think he's in there?" And you're like, "Who are they talking about?" You guess that they're talking about Joel or Tommy, right? Because they probably done a lot. So you think, oh, okay. And Owen's like, "We can't go down there now and we can't just go in there now. It's crazy. I'm going to go back." And Abby's like, "Well, screw you, I'm going to go off and do it myself then, because if you're going to, pussy out now, I'm going to go do it now." Right. And so she goes off by herself and she gets chased down by hordes and everything like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, she runs into Joel and Tommy and they save her life. So they save her life from all this horde and stuff like that. And they're stuck in like this building and she doesn't really say much. She's quite quiet.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Oh, well, I've got to camp up the road with my friends. We can go up there. It's quite close because it's like a storm, so they can't go back to Jackson." So they said, "It's only up the road. We can go up there. No problem." Joel, Tommy, and her go back to the camp.
Right. So
they're all down in this like basement-y area, I guess. And it's... Joel and Tommy are like... Tommy's talking. He's like, "Oh, I'm Tommy. This is Joel." And Joel's like, they all just look shocked. And Joel is like, "You all look like you've heard of me. What are you talking about?" So Abby shoots him in the leg with a shotgun, just blows his leg pretty much clean off, just shoots his leg pretty much clean off. Like it's so brutal. And Tommy gets hit in the head, like beat in the head with a gun, like the bottom of a gun, and just gets beaten the hell. So he's knocked out. And Joel's obviously being pinned up against the wall then by two people with his leg pretty much bleeding out. So they tie up his leg. They're like, "You're not gonna..." And Abby's there. She grabs a club, like a golf club, and goes, "You're not gonna have an easy death, let me tell you." And then it cuts to Ellie, right? So that's all you see. Yeah, it cuts to Ellie, right? And Jesse finds Ellie and Dina, right? So he goes, "Look, I can't find Joel or Tommy anywhere." So they all split off and try and find him. Ellie then comes across this house. She goes inside. Can hear screaming, like I mean torture screaming. She goes downstairs, sees Joel like lying on the floor, blood everywhere, his face is cracked in and everything like that. So she obviously goes, "Fuck you, I'm gonna try and find you." And anyway, she gets knocked out and pinned to the floor. Not knocked out, sorry. She gets pinned to the floor. Yeah. And her face is pointing at Joel. And Abby is just beating the shit out of Joel right in front of her eyes. And she's crying her eyes out saying, "Please don't do this. Please don't do this. Why are you doing this?" And stuff like that. Yeah. And Owen then comes in. So the other guy walks in and goes, "You've got to just finish this. They're obviously on to us. We finish this before more people show up." And she kills Joel. She goes, "Okay." And she does it in the most brutal way. She just grabs the golf club and just whacks his head, and blood just starts coming out, and Ellie's crying her eyes out and stuff like that. And
oh no!
And she gets knocked out then, and then found by Dina. Next thing you get cut to then is Tommy, his brother, because Tommy is obviously Joel's brother.
Yeah.
Back at Jackson, back in her house, he knocks on the door and goes, it's so sad because he has like a box full of sort of Joel's belongings, and he said, and he's like, Maria wants you to eat and keep all this stuff, and she's like, I gotta go after them. I can't, like, I gotta go after them, and he's like, oh, we can't because we got our life here and stuff like that, and she's like, but he would have done the same for us, and he would have, he'd be straight then. And then they talk about that, and Eddie's like, I'm going with or without you, basically. And you cut to Joel's grave, and it's just Ellie. It's just Ellie Ellie just sat there, and the emotions, man. To do that so early on in the game, but the thing is, it's not how he died. It's not that he died. It's how he died. He didn't just get shot.
They did him dirty, man.
They beat the shit out of him. I mean, they tortured him. And the worst thing is seeing that in Ellie's point of view just gives you chills because you're like, these two, and Ellie saw everything. She witnessed it all. And the fact that when he cuts to the grave, you feel like you've genuinely lost someone. Yeah. Like you feel like, I don't know, you feel like you've... And anyway, Dina then goes, you ready to head out? And Ellie's like, yeah, let's go try and find.
I'd be like, right, yeah, let's
go try and find. But you're walking through, and Ellie is just moping around, really, really disheartened, which you can see. And you walk up to Joel's house, and there's flowers everywhere that people have put down because he's died, and it was the hardest thing. And you walk into his house, and you walk around his house where he's had like guitars laying around, photos of his daughter, and it's painful, man. It is painful to watch. But the fact that Naughty Dog did that is incredible. The fact that they make you so emotionally involved in these characters that when they die, you feel like you've lost someone.
That you have that impact.
Is incredible, and it's just it was so shocking for me personally. I
just did. When you play through Last of Us 1, Joel is this badass who just takes on all of these people, all of these zombies. He just can't be beaten. And then he just gets taken down like that.
Everyone sort of says that he was very untrustworthy in the first game, and now all of a sudden, he trusts everyone. But I guess it's 4 years later. You develop as a character yourself. Maybe he got a bit softer. He got a bit, he eased off a bit. Yeah, you learn how to. Yeah, you learn how to trust people, I guess. You think you build up more trust.
He was with allies, I imagine.
Yeah, exactly.
He's learned to trust people.
And it was just the whole that scene, and that happens in the first hour and a half of the game. And
I was expecting something like that later on.
Everyone says that as well. Like a lot of people online are saying that, but the whole story is about that, so it kind of makes sense because obviously
it's a revenge tale.
So the whole story is about her trying to find Abby, basically. She goes.
Well, I don't like Abby.
I'm going to paraphrase, right? So you go on and you hunt down all the people that were there in that room who beat the shit out of Joel. And the thing is, some of the characters you hate, but they've done it so well because one of the characters which were in the room, can't remember her name, but you go after her. And you find her in a room, and Ellie's like, "Why would you do that?" and stuff like that, pointing the gun at her. And she goes, "You know what? I'm glad he suffered. I wish he suffered more." And you just want to. Do you know what I mean? You feel like, what did you say? And then, and then you chase her down, and
please tell me Ellie takes her down.
Oh yeah, she tries to, because the whole point of this is her trying to find Abby, right? So she doesn't care who she hurts, who gets hurt in the way. She just wants to basically find Abby, which I don't blame her.
She may not have given any one of them clean deaths. Them once and that's it. They need to be tortured like Joel was to see how they feel.
The whole thing is Tommy goes after Joel by himself, goes after Abby by himself.
Oh really?
So Ellie's like, well, I can't leave him go by himself. I gotta go find him as well.
Yeah, sure.
And there's trails of bodies as well, throughout her and Dina's journey.
Oh, right.
Because Dina goes with her, and there's loads of bodies of the people who were in the room, and they've been brutally tortured as well from Tommy. So Tommy's obviously he's ruthless as well as a character. Yeah. And
Don't blame him.
the whole point, like I could go into detail about a lot of things, but the whole story, the first half of the story is amazing. I loved it. You're playing as Ellie, you want revenge, you're going after this Abby.
Finding all these side bosses to kill, basically.
Yeah, you always feel like you're on Abby's tail. So you always feel like, oh, I just missed her, I just missed her.
2 steps behind.
And I mean, while this is all going on, by the way, Dina reveals that she's pregnant with Jesse's baby. So yeah, so that's another thing to just add into it.
Yeah, why not?
Anyway, so as the story goes on, she goes back to the sort of hideout where they're sort of her, Dina, Jesse are sort of hiding out, and and Tommy's there as well. So they find Tommy. Tommy comes back to the theater, and Tommy's like, "We got to go back now. There's been too much blood. We got to go back. We got to leave her. We've killed a lot of people. We got to go back. Dina's pregnant. We got to go back." Ellie's like, yeah, okay, I think we should probably go back then. She's starting to come around that this is probably a bit bigger than she thought. Anyway, Tommy walks, so they're in like a massive movie theater, and Ellie's in another room.
Okay.
And Tommy and Jesse, Tommy's at the top, and he walks through the door. All you can hear is gunshots. So you think, what the hell's going on here? So you run out of the movie theater with Jesse. Jesse gets shot instantly and dies, which is...
Brilliant.
Mental. A lot of that happens like shocking deaths, like deaths that just happen like that, and you're like, whoa, okay. And Ellie and Abby are there, so they're sort of facing down. Abby's got Tommy in a chokehold. It's like, I'm going to kill him if you don't, you killed all my friends.
How strong is Abby, out of curiosity?
I mean, we're going to talk about that in a minute, but
okay,
it cuts to black then, right? So it cuts to black in that intense moment. It cuts to black, and you start playing as Abby again, and it's Seattle day one. It goes back in time to where Ellie was starting her journey as well to go after it.
Right, okay, yeah.
So with Ellie's journey, it's like the chapters are Seattle day 1, Seattle day 2, Seattle day 3.
Yep.
With obviously when you switch over to Abby, you go Seattle day 1, and it pops up with that at the start. And you start playing as Abby. And that was when I was like, I kind of hope I'm only playing for her as 10 minutes or small segments.
It's a little homage to that character specifically.
Just a little
change of pace.
Because I hate her. I don't want to play as a character I hate.
The thing is, if I was playing as her, I'd find the first zombie and just charge towards it.
That's what I was doing. I didn't want to survive as her. I felt like I wanted to die. Like, I know it sounds horrible, but I was like, I hate this character. But the second half of it is crucial, in my opinion. At first, I wasn't a big fan of it. I thought, I don't like this character. I don't feel the need to
play as her
and survive, if that makes sense. Like, I didn't feel like I needed to play as her.
Right.
But you do find out crucial information. So you do these sort of separate things as Abby. Like, pretty much the second half of the game, you are playing as Abby. Okay. And to run it quickly, you basically find out that Joel, like her and her group were Fireflies, and Joel killed her dad, which was the operating guy. So I
assumed that she'd have some connection to that.
Yeah. So the guy who was operating, on Ellie and Joel's shot to save Ellie was her dad. And it's clever because I don't know if Naughty Dog thought about that when they made the first one. Do you think they were planning that? I mean,
Well, you think that they might have not planned a revenge tale from the person, from the daughter of the guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's clever if they did.
I feel like he needed to have some kind of consequence because he did kill a lot of them for essentially quite selfish reasons. It was because he didn't want to see Ellie go.
So
he saved humanity, so he did kill a lot of people just for one person. I feel that has some form of consequence.
I'm not surprised because you.
I didn't want him dead.
I didn't want him dead, but I'm not surprised that he's dead. If I'm being honest with you, because
if it's based on that, if the main antagonist is related to the people he murdered, then it makes sense for her to go after him.
So throughout her journey, you find out all this information that what she did to Joel. I'm not saying it's justified, but it gives it more reason. So you have a bit more. It's clever how they did that. I got to admit, the storytelling I think is incredible. A lot of people don't agree with it, but I think there were a lot of
mixed reviews based on the story alone.
I think people don't like it because you play as Abby and they get a bit salty. Like I wasn't a fan of it at the start, but when you look at it and you think it is actually crucial. There are downsides to it, so I think you play as Abby way too much. Like I think there's just
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that go on in Abby's story and gameplay that just felt a bit like
Could you say? Do you know the kind of? Can you estimate a ratio between playing as Ellie and playing as Abby?
probably 50-50, I'd say.
Really?
Yeah, it's 50-50, but
I can see why people might not like that.
it's not that I did like 50-50 is the bad thing, but it's a lot of the stuff. It's like, well, not a lot, but some of the stuff you did as Abby felt kind of empty and pointless. So there's a point in Abby's story as well where she comes across these scars, which are like a whole other clan, and her clan and them clans have been basically at each other's throats,
Fighting each other, yeah.
Fighting each other. She comes across this boy and girl, and they are basically scars. They're just crazy, basically. So she comes across them, and they sort of help each other escape this camp. And you see Abby help them, and it's all of a sudden because Abby's like, I'm helping you, and the little boy's like, why are you helping us? And she's like, because, I feel guilty. And they go, what do you feel guilty about? And she just doesn't say anything. So maybe she's helping these two because she feels guilty about Joel, about what she did to Joel. I don't know.
What do you think about that? Do you think that's the case?
I think so, because or maybe she feels guilty about killing all these scars, like all these other.
There's some form of guilt to why she's helping.
Yeah, I don't think it's about Joel, personally. I think it's more about her.
No, I don't. I think she probably felt justified of killing off Joe. I don't think she might feel guilty. Maybe she felt guilty towards how she made Ellie feel.
Maybe, but why would that make her want to help these two children?
I don't know.
I guess.
I don't know. I'm just speculating potential causes. It would make more sense for it to be related to this other faction rival gang that she's been fighting.
I think so, yeah. But you sort of you hold, but the girl eventually sort of dies. She gets killed, and
okay.
yeah, she gets killed. Abby,
just little kids. The
yeah.
girl just gets killed.
So yeah, she's older. She's like, I'd say probably about 18. The boy's probably about 9, 10.
I was thinking that both of them were like kids.
Sure. No, they're different ages, but they're not kids as like, they want to go out and play football. They're kids with a bow and arrow. They're trained and stuff like that.
From a young age, yeah.
So anyway, this little kid's called Lev, I believe it is. Liv or Lev. I think it's Lev. And basically these two characters got shunned or kicked out of their group, the Scars, because the boy shaved his head, and that's apparently against the rules with them. If that felt really weird, that reason to kick them out. I didn't see, like, that felt, I don't know, kind of weird how that's the reason why they got kicked out. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't seem like a justified reason. It's not
odd.
He didn't.
It doesn't justify it.
I can't remember what it was. It was something about it's against their religion or against something that they do.
Against their beliefs.
Yeah, so they go against their clan, and then eventually Abby goes against her clan, because her clan, the leader's very much like, we got to kill all the Scars. We don't care who gets hurt. He just starts burning all their like, he just goes mental, and Abby's like, I'm not sticking around for this. So do you think
Abby's character changes then? So do you think at the beginning Abby would be like, yeah, let's do it, let's take them all down, and then she has a change of heart? Or
the thing is, they do this so well. They try to make you feel sorry for Abby, or they try and make you feel sympathy, and I think I didn't feel it, because it's hard to make a character like her kill off Joel, a character which everyone loves, and then try and make her likable. It's bold what they did. It's
definitely, yeah. I mean, killing off just a major character like that. But I guess, like crucial information that you mentioned about the reasons behind that she did it. It makes it leads towards a relatability, because Joel and Ellie would be doing a similar thing if it was the other way around.
definitely.
Well, Ellie, Ellie's on a revenge to kill Abby because Abby
that's the
killed
thing.
Joel, and Abby did the same thing to Joel.
Where does this stop? I mean, they're both. I think that's what it shows. It's a story about. It's not a story about the infected, or it's not. If I'm being honest with you, they're in the world. The story is about these two characters so consumed by revenge, they will kill anyone in their path to get it. So it shows, how they, and it's clever how they sort of develop the various characters, and it's clever what they did. Don't get me wrong. It's a good story. Like, no matter how you look at it, you can't say it was bad. It was a bad story, right? What they've done, it wasn't a bad story. I haven't even got to the end yet. So anyway, yeah, I haven't even got to the end yet.
I thought you said you haven't completed it then.
No. I mean, I haven't got to the ending yet. So,
well, if you remember from the last podcast, I asked you a question about: is there anything they can do later that would change your mind about the story? Do you think your mind's changed?
It did. When I first played it, I kind of felt really disheartened about the fact that you had to play half the game as Abby. Like I said, I didn't really feel like... I felt like it was good storytelling, like it was crucial to see, her side of the story, and you finally get a bit more information as to why she did it.
Yeah.
But again, like I had so much hate for her because of what she did to Joel. It's not what she did to Joel, it's how she did it. Like, she didn't just shoot him in the head. I wouldn't
expect Joel to die in such a
brutal way. I mean, that just shows
why a golf club?
Like, it was the only thing that was there,
I guess.
Yeah, it was just lying around in the house. So,
his neck got shot off.
You've got to watch it, right? You've got to watch it.
I mean, after this podcast, I'm watching all of those cutscenes.
The cutscenes are amazing, but they're brutal, and
I'm looking forward to
it. They show, don't get me wrong, Abby's story was crucial. It didn't change. It didn't really change how I felt about the game. I still love the game. I still think it's a fantastic game.
Do you think you originally said it's better than the first one? Do you stand by that?
I don't know. See, it's different with the first one, because with the first one, again, I still don't like playing as Abby, but I understand playing as Abby. Do you see what I'm saying?
I think that's why they want you to play as Abby.
Yeah, I don't like playing as Abby, but like you said, they want you to play as Abby to get her story and feel sympathy.
It shows how good they've made the story and how good they made the character.
I think it's fun.
You can hate the character that much when you just because you're playing as her. I think they're doing a good job.
And games as well normally don't really give much background to the villain, do they? They don't give not much reason. They just quickly sort of say, "Oh, they did this because of this." Do you know what I mean? Like, they could have easily have just gone.
You don't think many games go quite as in depth?
No, I think what they've done, like I said, it's a bold move, and I think that's why a lot of people hate it. But it's not a bad game. The story is not bad. The thing
I've seen so many low reviews. They were like the player reviews. They were like something as low as 3.
Yeah, it's just. I think it's just people not liking it because Joel's died and stuff like that. It's just.
So they're just upset about their character.
And I think a lot of it
not going the way they wanted it.
And I think a lot of it is you play as Abby in the second half. So I'm gonna say the ending soon, but
sure.
if you were to play this game and you knew everything I knew and you played as Abby for the second half, how would you feel about the game?
Well, I mean, I think I would feel the same as you. I would be like, do I have to play as this character?
Yeah, I think everyone's like that.
I wouldn't be focused on what you have to do in the mission. I would just be focused entirely on I'm playing as this person who's killed this character that I've grown to love.
Definitely.
From the past game.
But
I would just be like I said earlier, I would find the first zombie, I would just charge into it. I'd be like, I'd like to see her stuff a bit. I'd be like, yeah, have a taste of that.
But do you think that would ruin the game for you?
No, not at all. Like I said, I think if they've done a character justice, like the makers of the game, if you hate them.
Yeah, it's a good villain if you hate them.
Not because it's like badly written or badly told, but the character's so well explained and she has a good justification for it, and she made such an impact.
Yeah, definitely.
You hate her to that extent. It shows how well they made the characters, in my opinion.
I mean, if you hate a character, if you hate the villain, it's a good villain, isn't it?
Exactly.
Do you think what she did was justified? Because her dad died, so she's going after Joel.
Yeah,
He got.
if you
So
view it from an
Ellie,
outside perspective,
but
then
Ellie's
yeah,
doing the same. Basically, Joel was her dad. She's going after
yeah,
Abby. They basically are both on the same path of revenge.
yeah.
What I don't like again is how Abby did it. Like I
It
don't like how
it's
brutal
so
she did it. You know?
it was. I didn't expect. I mean, she was fueled by revenge, and she was outraged
Yeah,
by what he did to her family.
yeah.
So I can understand why she went to that kind of level. Um, you don't go in there clear minded.
No.
After they kill your dad, they're like, right, I'm
Yeah,
gonna make this guy suffer for what he did to me. It
definitely.
makes it is justifiable. I hate that she did it because it's a character I love. But if you see
Look
it
at
from
it.
an outside perspective, like
Yeah,
myself, because I haven't played the game, then it makes total sense.
like
It is justified. I just hate that it's happened to Joel.
put yourself in her shoes. You
Yeah,
know, if
exactly.
somebody killed your dad, you'd want to go out and take
But the thing is,
revenge.
exactly. But revenge is you're not level-headed.
No,
Your mind is clear when you're out there killing just to find that one person.
and
So they
yeah,
weren't in their right set. They weren't in the right frame of mind to do it. But I understand why.
it is a good story, and you'll look at it and you'll watch it and you'll think it is a good story. Like no
Yeah.
matter if somebody says a bad story, I don't see how anyone could say it's a bad story.
So you only think people don't like it because they're a bit salty about the player's Abby? You
I
don't think
think
there's any
so. No,
respect?
I genuinely think so. I mean, like I said, there is a lot of Abby's gameplay in her story, which did feel kind of
Do you
a bit
think they? I mean,
pointless.
do you think the missions themselves as Abby? Do you think they are good enough? Do you think they drag on? Do you think they're good?
Like I said,
Retelling the story?
some of them
Or,
do drag on. Like there's a part in the game where you're with Lev, the boy,
yeah, yeah,
and you basically every time you go into an infected zone, you have to put on a gas mask, like with there's spores around.
right.
And he doesn't have one. They're about to go in, and you have to like go through this building to find a gas mask for him, and it just felt like it was a big segment, like a good 15-20 minute part of you just
Just to
finding
find
a
a gas
gas
mask.
mask, and it's like this is a bit.
I feel
And,
like they could condense that down a bit.
and there's a part where you basically are high up in like this building, and you've
Yeah.
got to make your way down, and that's a good mission, and you just think,
Is it?
do I really need to do this? Like, how is this helping her character? Like, it just, I don't know, it felt
It's just that
really,
this. Well, maybe it's all about the sense of scale
yeah,
of the map. But then again, you probably would have felt that playing the earlier missions, I imagine.
maybe. But again, I feel like it did do justice her side, like the second half, because again, you find out a lot, and you do kind of see where she's coming from. You think, like if I was in Abby's shoes, I would go after him. I'd go after Joel.
Yeah.
She has no connection to Joel. She has no
Yeah.
personal relationship to him. She'll go.
Yeah.
It's just what I don't like about it is how she went about it. She didn't just go to him and shoot him in the head. She brutally murdered. And yeah, it's just how she went about it.
No, it makes sense. Like I hate how she did it because again, we know Joel. We love Joel. We love the character. We don't want him taken out in such a torturous way.
In a
But
brutal
I
way.
can understand why.
I can, and I think that's why a lot of people are salty because Joel died. I do. It's true though, isn't it? I think.
So for everyone listening, the only reason you don't like it is because you're salty. So deal with it.
There was another part which I didn't like. So anyway, it goes carrying on the story. It goes back
Yeah.
to where it cut off, where Ellie and Abby are basically standing off against each other,
Yeah.
and Abby shoots Tommy in the leg and the shoulder. It looks like he got shot in the head, but it like grazed his head. He's passed out on the
right.
floor, and I thought he was dead. Like I thought that was it.
Oh,
Anyway,
okay.
Ellie like starts shooting and runs off back into the theater, and you have like a mini sort of boss battle with Ellie, but you're playing as Abby, and I really didn't want to hurt Ellie.
Take down Ellie. Yeah. I want to be the other way around.
That again is a very bold move with what they did. But when you carry on with the story, it kind of flips. But anyway, you do that, and I kind of was like, I don't want to hurt Ellie. I don't want to punch her. I don't want to win this battle. I want to lose this battle. And anyway, so Abby gets the upper hand on her and beats the crap out of Ellie, right? And she goes, I don't want. Like she was just about to kill her, but Liv goes, don't do it. You're better than this, right? The little boy goes, don't do it. It's not worth it. And Abby goes, I don't ever want to see your face again, and then just leaves with Liv, right?
Okay.
So it cuts to bit time later. I can't remember how much it is. I think it's like a year or maybe like a few months.
What happened to Abby?
They just go. I'll tell you, they go off. So like Abby and Liv just leave the theatre, and then it cuts to like 4 months later, right?
Right. Okay.
And Dina and no, I think it must be longer, about a year probably. But Dina and Ellie are in this farm.
Yeah.
Really? It must be about a year. It must be, because the baby's born. Like Dina's baby's born.
Wow.
And
okay.
They're living, like, her, Ellie, and JJ is the baby's name. Supposedly Joel and Jesse, JJ, because after them.
Yeah, that would be good.
And they're basically, living like a normal life, a nice little family just on the farm, doing this, doing that. Happy days. And Ellie has still got PTSD from what happened with Joel. So she's still having flashbacks from it and shaking, and because she saw it, imagine seeing that. And she's clearly not over the situation. She clearly hasn't got the revenge that she wanted. So Tommy comes by there, knocks on the door, is like, hello, how's it going, And he says, I found out where Abby is. She's going to Santa Barbara. She's going there with a little boy. She's got to be here. And Ellie goes, no, that's me done now. I can't do it. And, I don't know. It's just, it's very, like Tommy then starts kicking off and saying, you promised me that you'd go after her and you'd hunt her down no matter what you do. And I mean, that's basically what happens. And he kicks off and is like, well, fine then, and starts, throwing a tantrum. And Ellie then decides, I'm going after her. I've got to, And Dina is like, please don't do this. Don't go after her. So you go after her. You go after Abby. Abby gets basically taken by these even worse group, like this worse group, like these basically Neanderthals, right? They just kill anyone and torture them. So obviously Liv is with her as well. So they're being tortured. Anyway, as Ellie, you go and find her, you track her down, and she's pinned on this pillar. So she's pinned on this pillar, and obviously you find her down. She's skinny as anything. Bearing in mind, before she was really built, like she was muscly, and just really muscly, and they always make, in the game they always sort of talk about how muscly she is and stuff like that. But she's pinned. She's got literally no muscles to her now. She's really skinny.
How long has she been pinned up for?
About 5 months, I think. 4 months, they said. So
straight.
I don't think she'd been pinned for 4 months, but she'd been captured by them for about 4 months.
Fed properly, and she hasn't
so anyway, Liv is the same. Like Liv was pinned up as well. Yeah. Because they tried to escape or something. So Ellie cuts them down. All three of them sort of get to this boat area, and there's 2 boats. And Liv goes in the boat and is like knocked out or something. And Abby's just about to leave, but Ellie's like, no, you're not leaving. I can't let you, I can't let you leave. This is, I still got to get revenge. You've got to fight me. And Abby's like, no, I'm not fighting you anymore. So I don't know if that's her not consumed by revenge anymore. So Abby's
she's just too weak.
Yeah, I don't think it's that she's too weak. I think it's like
she's not to say it because she knows she'll lose this.
No, I think she's thinking about the bigger picture with Liv. She obviously thinks, I want to look after Liv now, the boy. I don't want to, fight anymore. I'm not consumed by revenge.
Yeah, because that's interesting because then it kind of relates to how Joel and Ellie were in the first game.
So anyway, Ellie's like, no, I'm not letting you get away. Even if you don't want to fight, I'm going to fight you. I need to get my revenge. So they do this fight, and it's brutal. They're fighting, there's blood, there's everything. And Ellie gets her fingers cut off, so her 2 fingers bitten off. Sorry, not cut off, bitten off. So imagine how that feels, bitten off by Abby.
God.
And Ellie's like pinning her down and just about to kill her under the water, and it's like just about to kill her.
Drown her.
Drown her, yeah. And she just sits back and doesn't kill her and goes, just get out of here. Just leave now. And Abby leaves, and that's it. Abby leaves. Ellie, then, the last thing you see is Ellie just sat in the water, just seeing them go. And she goes back to the farmhouse where Dina was, and Dina's gone. There's the baby's gone. She's gone. Obviously, imagine a baby living by herself. so Dina's gone. and yeah, she just sees Joel's guitar, so she goes to play it, but she can't because her fingers. Obviously, she hasn't got
God.
fingers, so they're gone. So she just puts the guitar down. Obviously, she can't play it. Joel's guitar, all his stuff, photos, everything, and just leaves the farmhouse, and then it just cuts off. It ends. That's the ending.
Why did Dina leave?
Because I think she wasn't after revenge or anything like that. She thought, if you leave early, if you go after this, I'm
No,
not
I'm
going to be
leaving.
back. Yeah, I'm not gonna. I can't I can't wait if you're going to come back. You could die on this journey. I don't know. So
Yeah.
a lot of people were angry by this because obviously they wanted Abby to die, right? They wanted Abby to die.
Yeah.
But I think it's more about character development for Ellie, and I think she got, like, at the end you can clearly see she's got her revenge. She doesn't, she doesn't.
She knew she would have won that fight.
Yeah, she got her revenge. She was like, "This is like I've done enough
lost
killing."
two fingers in the process.
Yeah, I don't know. I
Not
just feel like
ideal.
she's done a lot of killing. She's like, I can't anymore. And apparently, like 2/3 of the game, when they were making the game, they were going to kill her. But like the
Well,
Naughty
Ellie.
Dog, yeah, no, Naughty Dog was planning on killing Abby, but they thought it'd be better for a character to not. So how do you feel about that? How do you feel about?
I think I mentioned it. I like that Ellie let those two go because it's probably not the case because I haven't played it, so I don't know what she was thinking at the time. But maybe because it might have reminded her of how Joel and Ellie were in the first game. So like
Yeah.
Abby taking care of Liv or Lev or whatever her name is. So it has that similar like mother figure or father figure that Ellie had. So maybe she was like, okay,
Yeah.
let's leave them to it. It reminds me of the good old days or something.
Yeah, and I mean, throughout the game, you have flashbacks of Joel and Ellie when Joel was like, when Ellie was like, quite young. And there's this one scene which you have to look at is when Ellie and Joel go to a museum, and it's my favorite part in the game because they're just walking around the museum, and it's just so touching, and you just miss Joel. And it's just incredible, incredible. Graphics, incredible story for that segment, and you're back and forth. Anyway, in the memories as well, which I sort of forgot to mention, Ellie finds out about what Joel did with, about lying to her. So she goes,
when in the game?
But about 2 years earlier. So when she was kind of young, she like found out 2 years earlier, and she goes to Joel, "I never want to see you again, ever." And
is that why Joel was off?
That's why Joel was still in the community, but every time they saw each other, they would just not talk to each other, which is so sad because like Joel just he just every time. And anyway, like the last time you see Joel and Ellie together is they're at a party. No, but when they're at a party the night before, like, he dies.
Yeah.
He basically steps in because she kisses Dina, and this like bigot basically says, "Oh, we don't want lesbians here," basically, and stuff like that. So Joel steps in and goes to hit him, and then Ellie starts kicking off, saying, "Why did you do that? I don't need your help, do I?" And just starts kicking off and says, "Just get out of here, just leave." Ellie. But she goes, "Just leave, just leave. I don't want to see you again." And he leaves, and he just sat on his porch. And then Ellie goes, like, later that night, goes up to him, and this is the last thing you see. And she goes, I don't know if I can ever forgive you, but I want to try. Like, I want to try to forgive you, but I don't know if I can.
He did this for you, Ellie.
Yeah, and
you wouldn't be alive if he didn't do
that's
this.
the last time you see them two together. And that was the last time they obviously had like a conversation. So it's so sad to see that. I mean, it could be worse. They could be not on speaking terms at all. So Ellie could.
I just don't like that they are on those kind of terms where she doesn't like him anymore.
But okay, so this is a question for you. If you were in Joel's shoes, right, would you save Ellie because it was quite selfish, or would you sacrifice her to save millions? What would you do?
The thing is, you have to put yourself through Joel's situation about him losing his daughter and then having a second chance.
Yeah.
And then it being taken away from him. I would be totally selfish. I'd be like, I don't care.
I would, yeah.
Like, I'd have to taking her away.
I'd have to.
I would do exactly what Joel did. It might have been very selfish and against humanity's best interest, but who knows what will happen? It might not even work out,
Yeah, I mean,
amongst
It's
others.
like I said, it's not like it's showing that the consequences for his actions are obviously coming up and biting him in the bum, right? And
Sure, I just don't like how. No, I don't like Ellie not forgiving like him for doing that. I don't know. I feel like that's kind of unfair on him.
it
Like
is,
he
but I
deserved
don't
that.
know. I don't know. Imagine if you could be the. I don't know. It's hard to see because you can put yourself in so many people's different shoes in this and think, what would I have done in that situation? How would I have
End
reacted?
of
And
the
you just
day,
don't
she'd
know.
be dead, so
But
she wouldn't have any feelings.
she wanted to die. Like her whole purpose, like she wanted to die
She
to
wanted to.
yeah, she wanted to die to give a cure to everyone. That's the whole point. She was like, you took that from me. I wanted to die to save others. Like that, you took that from me. And
Yeah.
she's like, I could never, And yeah, I don't.
It's hard, isn't it? It's hard to say who's in the right, who's in
And
the
she
wrong.
did, and he did lie to her as well, which breaks trust. I mean, he lied to her about a big thing, you know, and yeah, it's hard to say where it ends now. I mean, Ellie, is she just going to go off and try and find Dina, or is she just going off on her own adventure?
Yeah, I mean, do you think there's potential for another sequel?
There is. I mean, I personally could live without one. I don't
Yeah.
need one, but there's always room for a potential
If they come
sequel.
up with one in another,
Yeah,
five,
I
six
mean,
years
yeah, I mean the ending. A lot of people hated
for the
it,
next
but
console.
maybe. But a lot of people hated the ending and the story and how it went. But I thought it was crucial for character development for Ellie to
Yeah,
not kill it. I think it was the right thing to do.
yeah.
And
Because otherwise,
overall,
what did she learn
exactly. And I think
in the end?
overall, it was a fantastic game. It really was. Still, it's a really good game. It's fun, good story, gameplay, everything just is fantastic in it, and they've done a really
Okay,
good job.
if you were to give this, I'm inventing this now. We're gonna each time we
Review
do
thing.
Game of the Week, we're gonna have a rating out of 10 for how we review our game. So out of 10, we're gonna have like a beta. How many? How much would you give out of 10 for Last of Us 2?
I probably give it an 8.5 out of 10.
Ooh, okay.
I think 8.5. Like I said, there were some things like just felt a bit unnecessary with playing as Abby. It did
Yep.
feel a lot of things that were unnecessary. But again, I don't know if that's just because I didn't like playing as it. Uh,
Yeah, sure.
but I'd probably give it a good 8.5 out of 10. They've done a really good job. And yeah, I had so much fun playing it. I was invested in the story.
Yeah.
And it was brave what they did with the story, but I felt like they handled it really well. They executed it really well. So yeah, it was a good
Excellent.
game. What about you? How do you feel about everything I've
I
told you
was so
today?
relieved just to hear about all the spoilers and the characters and the
I
story.
mean, obviously, I only brushed on it.
That tension, that weight has been lifted now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, that's only been I pretty much skimmed through a lot of it.
Oh yeah, sure. I'm sure there's a lot more detail, but even as a person who doesn't play, who hasn't played Last of Us or two, I felt I felt invested just by listening
Yeah. So
to the story
do you
itself.
think you'd have the same like if you would? I know it's hard because you haven't played the game, but based on the story and what I've told you, how would you feel about like? Do you think you'd hate playing it? Do you think you would give it negative reviews and stuff like that? Like, how would
I
you
don't.
feel?
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, if you're invested, if I was invested in the first game, I think I would have the same feelings as what you explained here. They made a lot of bold moves, a lot of daring moves. You don't know how the fans are going to react, and
Yeah,
there have been mixed reviews,
yeah,
probably based on those choices.
yeah,
But personally, I think they were choices that were heading in the right direction.
definitely.
I like the story you presented. And there's a lot of there are a lot of personal reasons to like or dislike the game. Like you said, Abby's missions might have dragged on a bit, but they revealed crucial details about her motivation, why
Yeah,
she did the things she did,
yeah,
and I like I like the way that she also has this child figure in her life now, like Joel did with Ellie in the first game. So it's a nice
yeah.
parallel to end it on.
It is cool. Yeah,
Who
I really
knows?
like
Maybe
that.
there's be like a spin-off game with Abby and
Well,
Lev or something.
they could.
That
I
would
mean,
be
they did Left Behind, Last of Us Left Behind, which was a spin-off game, which was
yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like I'd be happy to never see Abby again. As a person,
What about like a little DLC, like a little few-hour DLC
I wouldn't mind
extra snippet?
I wouldn't mind a DLC character about Liv because he was quite an interesting character. Like
Yeah.
it'd be cool to see his backstory and how he got to where he was with the scars and stuff like that. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Okay.
I don't feel like I need to see Ellie again. I don't feel like I feel
So
like I've
so it's just up to, well, she can be doing whatever, and you
yeah.
can have.
As much as I love her as a character, I don't like
You
I
think
don't
she's completed now?
yeah. I think I'm done with her now. I feel like her storyline or saga or whatever
Done.
has come to an end because
Yeah.
I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what they do. I feel like they will make another game or at least a spin-off because it's just, it's made them loads of money at the end of the day. I think
Well,
they've sold like
it's a big
millions.
franchise, and it's had such a big impact on storytelling in gaming. So I wouldn't be shocked to see another Last of Us game down the road. Not for a little bit, though. I imagine in a few years' time.
Oh yeah, it'll take a while. I mean, yeah, it'll just be interesting. I mean, if they do another one, great. I'm sure I'll enjoy it. If they don't,
Yeah.
I've had my taste for it. I don't need to,
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you probably felt that in the first game. You probably think, oh, I'm happy with how it left off.
Yeah.
But then they had another game, and it might fill a void that you didn't know existed.
Definitely. But overall, I mean, I don't really care how. I mean, I feel like it's subjective. I feel like you either love it or you don't. With what.
So you don't think there's an in between?
Not really. I mean, I feel like the first.
Well,
half
as far
of
as the reviews goes, it's either you love it or you hate it. That's why.
Exactly. I mean, from reviews from like critics and that, it's been good. Like they've been good.
Yeah, it's more the player reviews.
It's more the players. So
it's
hard to say. It's one of them games you got to play yourself and see if you enjoy it. I feel like 90% of people will hate playing as Abby, but you've got to see why. Like you can't just go, I hate this character. Why am I playing as her? You've got to look into it and be like, I understand why I'm playing as her now.
Exactly.
But yeah, it was really good. I had so much fun with it, and yeah, I loved it.
Well, that was just a roller coaster.
How do you think I feel? I kept all that in for so long.
How did you hold off your feelings for so long without telling anyone?
And I'm gonna say, like, I almost cried at a few parts. Almost when Joel died, I was tearing up. When
definitely, yeah.
Later on in the game, Ellie as well is in the theater. She finds a guitar and she starts playing that song that Joel taught her, like at the start of the game. And it was like if it was something like if you were ever to leave me, I'd surely lose myself. And it's just
brilliant.
It's just you got to watch it because that bit is heartbreaking. So like this is oh my god. And I think if a game does that, they've done a really good job.
They've done well.
Yeah, I think if the game makes you feel like that, and they've done a really good job.
They've done their job.
So yeah, it was good. Enjoyed it. So I guess that was hefty. That was
a roller coaster of a segment.
So now you can go and look at.
Yeah, well, to finish off this podcast, we're going to enter the final segment, which is definitely light-hearted in comparison to what we've just heard.
Definitely.
This is a segment of the podcast where each host takes it in turns each week to come up with 5 quotes for the other hosted guests, which games they've come from. So, based on last week, I got 2 out of 5, but I was given an extra half. I had 2.5 out of 5, so I got 50%. So, what are your chances? Do you think you'll be 2.5?
I'm nervous because
now you know how I feel.
I imagine it's hard under pressure, and
I have a few ones you should be able to get, and some interesting ones. We'll see.
I mean, you think of a quote. I don't know. It's just I'm ready. Come on, we can do it. I can do it. I've got.
Okay, here's number 1. You ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, this is just a silly one. Okay, waka waka waka.
Last pack, man.
Yes.
Last pack, man. Last one. Come on.
That was just an easy, silly one to. Right. So that's what Pac-Man, just the sound he makes in the game.
Yeah.
Number 2. The right man in the wrong place can make all the difference in the world.
Is that BioShock?
Well, you've guessed it. It's wrong, though. You've had your guess. It's Half-Life 2.
Oh, man, yeah.
It's a quote from the G-Man, who is a mysterious, reoccurring character in the Half-Life series.
I can think of it in my head.
You should have taken your time. I could have given you a hint. I don't know what hint I would give you.
You just got to go in. 100%, man. You can just go in.
Okay.
All or nothing. Let's go.
Exactly. Okay, ready for... Okay, so you got 1 out of 2 so far. That's fine. Right, here's the next one. You've met with a terrible fate, haven't you?
You've met with a terrible fate, haven't you? You'd have to give me a hint with that one.
The one hint I'll give you is Nintendo.
What was the quote again?
You've met with a terrible fate, haven't you?
Is it a Zelda game?
It is, but
Breath,
what
Breath
Zelda
of the
game?
Wilds?
Nope.
I haven't played any of the
from-
Zelda games.
It's from Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask.
I've never played that. But okay, half a point, surely.
It's a quote from the Happy Mask salesman,
Right.
which is the very first line spoken to Link upon Link's arrival in Termina.
If you didn't tell me Nintendo, I never would have got that.
You never would have got that one.
No,
what would you have gone for? What would be your first reaction to that?
I don't know. It could be like a thing. It's just, I don't know. It could be
anywhere.
anything. I don't know.
Yeah, you know how I'm feeling. Well, you're 1 for 5 at the moment.
1.5. 1.5. Because I gave you half. Yeah, I think that's fair.
That's fine. Okay, here's quote number 4. I like to wear shorts. They're comfy and easy to wear.
Was that you saying that, or is that?
That's not my quote.
I like wearing shorts. They're easy and comfy
I like to wear shorts. They're comfy and easy to wear.
I'm trying to think of game characters that wear shorts now.
I'll give you the. It's from Nintendo once again.
God, you're loving these Nintendo ones.
Well, no.
Pokemon?
Which one?
Which one? There's like a million.
Which one? Take a stab.
Oh.
Because if I give you another hint to which era, then,
There's so many Pokemon games, man. That's
the thing. Where do you think this would come from?
It could be from any of them.
Do you think this is a classic era? Do you think this is a modern era?
What is the quote again? Could you repeat that?
I like to wear shorts. They're comfy and easy to wear.
But like in the proper old-fashioned games, I don't know if they're wearing shorts.
They all look the same.
they're all like 2-bit. In the new one, like Sword and Shield, I know they're wearing shorts.
Sure.
I'm gonna have to go with logically. I know they're wearing shorts in one of the new ones, so it's got to be Sword and Shield.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Was I wrong?
Pokemon Red and Blue.
I was gonna say Red as well, Neil.
It is from the youngster class character you encounter in the game.
Oh,
so
half
when
a point.
When you encounter a character, you walk up to them. They find you. They walk towards you, and then they say they like to wear shorts. They're comfy and easy to wear.
Man.
I'd be freaked out if I'm honest.
That's so hard. Oh,
I'll give you a half mark again because you got the
2 out of 4.
game itself. So you've got 2 out of 5 so far.
Oh, 5? 2 out of 4?
You'll get this. Well, you got 2 so far.
Oh,
you have 1
yeah,
left to go.
yeah. Okay.
I think you should get this one.
Go on.
What did the green grape say to the purple grape? Breathe, you idiot.
What? What did the green grape say to the purple grape? Breathe, you idiot.
Yes.
What the hell?
You should get this one.
People are probably listening to this thinking, just get it, man. You've got the answer.
This should be near and dear to your heart. This game.
Can I have a hint, please?
Well, it's a PlayStation title. PlayStation exclusive.
Phone a friend. 50-50.
It's going to phone up your
What was the quote again? What was the quote?
What did the green grape say to the purple grape? Breathe, you idiot.
The Last of Us?
Yes. It's Last of Us 1.
Yeah, I thought so. Because see, when I'm thinking about it now, in the second game, you tell Ellie a lot of jokes and she loves them, like the cheesy kind of rubbishy jokes. So that makes sense. Yeah, that makes.
It is from Last of Us. It's from a book that Ellie possesses called No Pun Intended.
Oh, okay. Boom.
Hey, you got 3 out of 5.
I won. I beat you. Yes. Now you're gonna beat that next time.
The only reason why I don't think you count is because you have 2 of them half marks.
Yeah,
you had 2 half marks.
They were good ones. I bet people.
So
I bet
you only
people
got half mark more than me. So
it's hard when you're on the spot.
I did give you a couple of interesting ones. I was unsure you'd get the Half-Life one. I was thinking maybe you get that one. I'm not too sure, but I was hoping about the Zelda one. I didn't know how much of a Zelda fan you were exactly.
Yeah, I mean they were good ones. Yeah.
Releases.
I mean, people probably listen to this.
3 out of 5.
Yeah, people listening to this are probably like, that's easy. No, it's not easy when you're on the spot.
Not when you're on the spot. It's not. Yeah, last week I felt the pressure, and I it's nice that you did too.
Yeah, good. So I think that wraps it up for our podcast this week. So thank you for listening.
Yes.
We have an announcement to make again, which, well, I guess not an announcement now, but obviously we're on Patreon now. So if you'd like to support us, we'd greatly appreciate it. It's basically Patreon/Games Junkies to find out more information, where we'll basically give you bonus content, gaming streams. You get access to everything and just general support for us, really. I mean, obviously it's not required, but it would greatly be appreciated. And yeah, you just find out more information on our Patreon page. So anything to add, Jack, or is that?
I think that wraps it up. I've enjoyed this week, and I'm looking forward to the games that we're going to review next week, because it should be dying down a bit on the intensity.
Calmer. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, more relaxed experience this time, I think. So I'm looking forward to that.
So yeah, I guess catch you next week, guys.
See ya.